I have a story for you. Something the Examiner will love. A healing, possibly divine.
A girl performing miracles after a visitation from the Virgin Mary.
Chicago, New York, D.C., every demographic on this planet is eating this up.
Give me the exclusive.
Hi, we're back again. This is still Matt.
And this is Katie, and this is Movies and Mischief with Matt and Katie, and we just watched The Unholy. This is a film that stars Jeffrey Dean Morgan, William Sadler, Cricket Stewart, I think was her name, and then a plethora of other people I've never seen or heard of before.
Jordana Brewster.
Which one was Jordana Brewster?
She was the doctor. Natalie.
I don't know. The name's familiar, but I don't.
Yeah.
So anyways, Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays a reporter. Disgraced reporter. He can no longer get hired by legitimate papers, so he's going on these weird Inquirer.
He's a lying liar who lies.
So he goes on these random Inquirer type cases, and he comes across one in the woods of Massachusetts. I don't know. And then we have this whole story with a young girl who was a deaf mute who can suddenly speak, and she's healing people, and there's all this Catholic imagery and themes of false prophets and things like that.
References to Bernadette and the three children of Fatima.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this one?
They had me until the very end, and it's weird to say they turned it into a religious movie at the end, but they turned it into a religious movie at the end. I mean, that Catholicism, faith, is all the way through it. And I think that they took away the power of everything that they had done up until the end, at the end, and they also broke the rules of their own story. Exactly.
I don't know why. It's a theme in horror over the last few years where they just don't know how to end the film.
They all need to stop 5 minutes before they do.
Yeah, or they need to just
3.5 minutes.
Sometimes it's okay for the darkness to win.
Well, and in this case, it's not even that the darkness won. Either way, it could have ended. It's not that the darkness would necessarily have won. It's just that it would have been a much stronger movie. It just would have been stronger, and I think they're too afraid to not.
Everybody wants
everybody a sunshiny.
That's the problem. They think Hollywood or these filmmakers seem to think everybody wants a happy ending, and you can still have that dark ending.
It can still be
some
a
resolution,
good ending, and still be, because if they had ended it a different way, and we both know the way it could have ended, it's not that it would have been a dark ending. It's not that the darkness would have won. It's just that it would have.
It actually would have been a more logical ending.
It would have been a more logical ending. It would have fit better with what I think they were trying to do. Because what they did at the very end undid what they told us was going to be the only thing that stopped this thing from happening. They just undid it.
Exactly.
And not one of those, Jason's coming back kind of ways. That was not the movie they were trying to make. They weren't trying to set it up for a sequel. They were trying to put a period at the end of it, but they didn't. They gave it a semicolon instead.
So, ending aside, this was a very enjoyable film. It's the last 10, 15 minutes that kind of ruined it for me. But everything leading up to that was a really good, not necessarily scary. It only had a couple of whoa moments.
Yeah.
I loved the creature design.
Yeah.
The creature design was really
creepy,
cool.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there were some weird editing moments. I don't know if you picked up on this, but at some point during shooting, Jeffrey Dean Morgan got a haircut.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very funny when it first starts. You see him from behind, and I was like, "Is he drunk?" Because his hair was like totally up in the air, and then
and then all of a sudden
it got shorter.
But here's the thing: it went back and forth. There were parts where you could tell they filmed, and I'm sure it was because I'm pretty sure this film the filming got messed up because of the pandemic. So and I know Jeffrey Dean Morgan is doing a lot with Walking Dead, so who knows? But
and they tried to fix it by having him in like a
ski cap,
skull cap, not skull cap,
but it didn't. It was there were a couple parts where it was obvious. I just it's. I'm not saying that I hate the movie, but it just the ending was disappointing.
It really was.
It kind of contradicted everything.
I just have to say, I'm at the point now where every time I see Cary Elwes in a movie,
oh right, I forgot he was
I'm expecting him to be a bad guy, even when he doesn't necessarily turn out to be. There have been a few movies where he hasn't turned out to be, but it's totally distracting because I'm always waiting now for him to be some secretly evil.
Yeah.
So it totally distracts from what's happening because I'm always watching for that moment of reveal with him, whether it necessarily comes or not. It's he needs to start doing. He needs to do about 10 movies in a row where he's actually a benevolent kind of character or just a normal person for a while, and stop doing these because it's utterly distracting.
The other thing that was kind of bugging me, and again, this was all the last 10 minutes of the film, was it got very preachy.
Yeah. And it weirdly wasn't up until then, even though it's very much about miracles and faith and Catholicism and it was weirdly not super religion heavy.
It wasn't, and then those last
it just turned into
10 minutes. It
turned into a Lifetime movie.
It was just really odd. It was a really quick.
It really was. It was
really
a
quick turn.
Completely different tone.
Yeah.
It was odd.
So, there you have it. The Unholy. Again, didn't love it. Didn't hate it. It's just those last 10 minutes just really kind of were disappointing. Yeah. Everything leading up to that was really, really good. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was strong. William Sadler, as always was strong.
Always good.
Cary Elwes was, Cary Elwes. The rest of the cast was great.
They're doing a pretty good
Boston accent.
Yeah, pretty good Massachusetts accent.
It was interesting. It was an interesting film.
It's worth a watch.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
Wasn't bad. It wasn't on the level of ruination that
some of the movies we've seen over the last
Hereditary
couple of years.
where the end of Hereditary completely ruined the beginning of me. It was more along the lines of The Witch, where The Witch was, and it wasn't as good as The Witch, but The Witch was excellent. And it's another one. If they had stopped it about 6 minutes before they did, it would have been a perfect movie. And this would have been a much stronger movie if they had just stopped it before they did that last bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are your final thoughts on this one?
My final thoughts are: don't be a sheep. Don't take somebody else's word for what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open even when something appears to be, something benevolent.
Just don't follow blindly.
Yeah.
Read.
Yeah. And, you can have faith, but just also be aware that the devil is a liar. And so are a whole lot of people. How about you?
Just, if there's any writers or directors out there watching this, trust your audience.
We're smart enough to figure it out.
We can figure it out. We don't have to have these Disney light at the end of the tunnel endings all the time.
And you don't have to explain
You don't have to explain everything.
let us think about it for a while. We'll be talking about your movie for years to come.
Yeah, there's a quote that comes up at the end of this one that I was just like, really? I didn't get that.
Yeah, it was a very kind of Spike Lee kind of thing where it's like, yeah, we got it.
We
That's
figured that
what
out.
The movie was about, right? You don't
So,
have to
yeah,
say the
just-
exact same thing.
If you're a filmmaker, a writer, producer, director, and you just happen to be watching our stupid video, trust your audience.
Have faith in us.
We're not stupid. We can figure it out. On that note, I'm going to say good night. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget to click the like button. The like button, subscribe, share. Let us know if there's comment. Let us know if there's any movies out there you'd like to get our opinions on. And with that, we are going to bid you a fond adieu. Bye, guys.